Imagine a sea where every shadow hides teeth, where the creatures that lurk below were not shaped by nature alone, but born from the fearsome lineage of gods. Tonight, we descend into waters ruled by more than tide and moon. Waters haunted by a being whose children carry terror in their scales, stingers, and spines. In Māori myth, he is the dark reflection of the sea's beauty, the god whose offspring embodies the ocean's unease. This is Punga, the father of all things that creep, slither, sting, and strike within the sea's depths. Welcome back, witches and wanderers, to the Morbid Witch Podcast. I'm your host, Kari, your guide through mythology's darkest caverns, folklore's strangest corners, and the liminal spaces where gods and monsters blur into one. Tonight, we head into the waters of Aotearoa, New Zealand, to meet Punga, a figure often overshadowed by his powerful father, Tangaroa, and his more famous descendants like sharks, eels, and reptilian creatures. But Punga is more than a simple divine ancestor. He is a symbol of the fear of the unknown, an embodiment of everything unsettling, dangerous, and beautifully terrible about the natural world. If you've ever watched an eel twist through black water, or seen the sudden shadow of a shark pass beneath your feet, you've met Punga's children. So settle in, dim the lights, and prepare to sink into the myths, the monsters, and the murky depths of Māori cosmology. To understand Punga, we need to understand where he sits within the divine genealogy of Maori tradition. Punga is the son of Tangaroa, the god of the sea, one of the major gods in Maori cosmology. Tangaroa represents the vast ocean, the tides, the fish, and all marine life. Punga is one of his children, along with many other beings who fill the natural world. But Punga is different. His realm is not simply the ocean. It is the fearsome side of it. Punga is described as the ancestor of creatures considered dangerous, frightening, or difficult. The father of beings who invoke fear, not because they are evil, but because they are powerful, mysterious, and sharp-edged. From sharks to lizards, from stingrays to eels, Punga's children are the things that make people uneasy and make the ocean feel alive. Punga's two main sons are Ikati, ancestor of fish, and Tu Te Wana Wana, ancestor of reptiles. Through these lines, Punga becomes the divine father of sharks, stingrays, eels, dangerous fish, reptiles, creepy crawly things, and the creatures that live in the liminal spaces between land and sea. Punga is not a villain. He is a necessary part of the natural world, the reminder that beauty and danger coexist. In many traditions, fearsome creatures come from underworld gods or chaotic forces. But in Maori cosmology, danger is part of the divine order. Punga isn't evil, he's essential. He represents the natural fear, the respect for powerful creatures, the tension between humans and the wild, the unpredictability of the ocean, and the thin boundary between safety and peril. He is the embodiment of that feeling when you look into dark water and know something is looking back. There is a key myth that shapes Punga's relationship to the mortal world, a moment when everything changed. Long ago, the world of the gods shifted violently when Tawirimātea, the god of storms and winds, waged war against his brothers. Angered that they separated the primordial parents, Tawirimātea unleashed hurricanes, lightning, and violent winds across the earth. The children of Punga, fish, reptiles, and all creeping things, suddenly found themselves vulnerable. Some were blown across forests, some were hurled onto rocks, and some were flung so far inland that they never returned to the sea. It was chaos, and in the terror of the storm, Punga's children scattered. The creatures born of Punga became shy, quick to flee, hidden in dark places, were more active at night, and were wary of larger beings, especially humans. This myth explains why fish dart away when you approach, lizards scuttle under stones, eels hide in crevices, and sharks move silently, unseen until the last moment. They learned fear from the storm, fear that became instinct. The story turns Punga into more than an ancestor. He becomes the divine root of timidness, caution, and the survival instincts of the world's most mysterious creatures. Sharks, among Punga's most iconic descendants, play a major role in Maori tradition. Far from being villains, sharks were respected as guides, guardians, warriors, and symbols of strength. But they were also feared, because they reflect the same duality Punga does, beauty and terror intertwined. In some iwi traditions, the great sharks, the mako, the great white, the bronze whaler, trace their existence directly through Punga's line. Their power, speed, and ferocity are inherited traits. There are some stories of ancestors transformed into shark forms, returning to guide their descendants from the water. To be linked to a shark lineage was a mark of pride, but also a reminder of responsibility. Here's one tale adapted from tribal lore. A young chief once sailed too far into stormy seas. His canoe shattered, and he tumbled into the deep. As he sank, a massive shark appeared beneath him. But instead of attacking, it circled him gently, nudging him upward. The chief realized the shark bore markings matching those of his ancestors' tattoos. Punga's lineage was not simply about fear. It was about protection, the terrifying side of safety. One of the most famous beings descended from Punga is the eel, which holds deep spiritual significance throughout Maori culture. Eels represented persistence, hidden strength, guardianship of rivers, and the mystery of the unseen. There is a famous story about an eel who was once a god in another form. In one version, a divine being was punished for defying his kin. He was transformed into an eel, forced into the rivers, forever hiding in shadows. Because this figure descended through Punga, the eel became both a warning and a wisdom symbol. He took on cunning, stealth, and knowledge of dark places. Eels appear in many Maori stories as guides, omens, or protectors, all traits tied back to Punga's legacy. Punga isn't merely a mythological ancestor. He represents a worldview, a truth that many ancient cultures embraced. Not all frightening things are evil. Not all beautiful things are safe. Punga reminds us that the natural world is powerful. Humans must respect forces beyond their control. That fear can be a teacher, and that darkness has a place in the balance of creation. He is the God of uncomfortable truth, that the world's sharp edges are just as sacred as its soft ones. Today, Punga's legacy remains in tribal traditions, art and carvings, genealogies, environmental stewardships, respect for marine life, and understanding ecosystems through spiritual relationships. For Maori communities, the ocean isn't just a biome, it's family. And Punga is part of that family tree. His children still live all around us, in the stillness of a riverbed, in the flick of a lizard's tail, in the shadow beneath a wave, and in the shimmer of a stingray's glide. Punga's world is alive, breathing, and watching. So who do you think Punga is? A god of the sea? A son of Tangaroa? A father of all things that inspire both awe and fear? He occupies a vital space in Maori mythology, the space between danger and reverence, between terror and beauty. His children are not monsters. They are reminders of the ancient pact humans share with nature. Respect the powerful, the hidden, and the wild. And as long as you feel a shiver when looking into deep water, Punga is still with you. Thank you for listening to this deep dive into Maori mythology and the enigmatic god Punga. If you enjoyed this episode, you can follow the Morbid Witch podcast on Spotify and YouTube. For updates, bonus content, and episode announcements, follow me on TikTok. And as always, stay strange, stay spooky, and remember, the shadows are always watching.